different parts of their entire progressions. That is included here. You've got Norman Flynn making an appearance on BPM Sports Radio. And the quote that's written out in the video says that I wouldn't have this. The entire audio clip is in French, so if you are in Quebec, then you probably understand this. If you're in BC like me and you only learned French for 5 years in high school, this is above your head. But to help us out, there actually was a reply from Ronnie Sayers, who goes out there and asks a freaking AI dub bot. Here is the quote from the AI French to English robot that transcribes a Norman Flynn radio hit from BPM Sports from about a year ago. If you had absolutely wanted to have Slafkovsky, I would be willing to do it. I would take that risk. It's sure that Slafkovsky could be good. I told you he was full of talent, and it showed when he was having it. In any case, I saw a lot of good things in him. But to get a good player like Pierre-Luc Dubois, you have to pay. You have to give something good. And it's obvious. If you think the guy coming is going to help you, he's going to be in the top 6. He's already in the top 6. The other one, we agree Slafkovsky will probably go light. But if you ask Slafkovsky to get out of the woods, I would be willing to do it a little. And is that just not the craziest radio hit, the craziest idea that we may not have even could see, oh, like, this Canadiens player is on the block and they want to trade for this guy. But radio hits, the audio transcriptions, this rarely gets posted anywhere. So the fact that this French clip of Norman Flynn expressing his willingness to trade Slafkovsky for Pierre-Luc Dubois, of all people, I mean, the replies go out there and say some pretty funny things. The first reply here from Denis Kuka asks, hey, can somebody translate this into English? And the top reply says, hey, be happy you don't understand. Oh my goodness, that is hilarious, dude. Now, there is a little bit of a conversation as to when the timeline was that this was said. I mean, Olivier Boitel goes out there and asks, like, when did he say this? Because last year, when Slafkovsky was showing very little and Dubois was on fire, I would have been okay with him saying that. But there are some replies saying, hey, first, he never mentioned the Kings in the audio hit, and he's not working with that radio station anymore, so I'm pretty sure it was last year. Then there's another reply saying, wait, he's talking about the Kings, so maybe he's talking about it from this year. Like, this is kind of a nutty idea, and no matter if you're talking about this from the Winnipeg perspective or the LA perspective, with hindsight included, there's a reason this take was included on the Bad Habs Takes Exposed Twitter account. Pierre-Luc Dubois right now is absolutely tanking. He's at 19 points in 42 games played, on pace for 38 points. And sure, he was really good last year, 63 points in 73 games played. It's why he got the big deal, $8.5 million a year. But now, PLD is playing on the fourth line some nights. It's pretty bad. And sure, you could talk about some of the extra names that have been weighing him down. In fact, we've got a video coming out later today, hopefully, that will talk about one of these guys, because his name has entered trade rumors. But for Juraj Slafkovsky to be included as the consolation prize, say, hey, we need to get Dubois, I'd be willing to trade Juraj freaking Slafkovsky in...
For Hero Shooter, that is a PlayStation exclusive, giving me heavy Splatoon vibes. Bomb Stars is releasing day and date on PlayStation Plus, and then it will become a $30 game if you don't play it in time. Here's the premise. The battlefields can be covered in bubbles, and surfing on your team's colour grants a speed boost, whereas moving on the opponent's colour slows players down. Essentially, making ground control almost as important as gunplay. The game modes on offer include Smash the Star, where each team face off until 7 innings have been recorded, and then one player on each team becomes the star player and acts like an end boss. They have increased health and increased damage, but once they are taken down, the round is over. We also have Rubber Duck Party, which is Bomb Star's escort mission, and you guessed it, it stars a huge rubber duck, which needs to be pushed forward, and whoever gets it furthest in the time period wins. Oh, and although Bomb Stars most definitely wants to be an online competitive experience, there is a PvE Horde mode to practice your craft before taking on the world. Bomb Stars is also a hero shooter, with each of the 8 characters given their own weapons and abilities. From dual pistols to bubble shotguns to missile launchers, and in terms of ultimate abilities, I saw a guy summon a shark which swam towards the other team and exploded. Will Foam Stars find its audience and grow like Fall Guys did, or will it be forgotten like Destruction All Stars? It's totally up. Something normal, because instead of talking about this type, I talked about 6. So I am for sure going to talk normally about normal things in this video. I got it. I believe. Now, not gonna lie, I have become very glad, second video in, that we're talking about Pokemon not very many people are going to find themselves using, that this is a top 10 list. Because not only would ranking these be objectively too controversial for this series, but also the fact that all 10 of the Pokemon of these exact type are like kind of equally not getting used for one reason or another. Maybe they aren't as popular, maybe they fell off after like one generation, maybe they're just unusable dex filler even if they got the Fairy Gem. Every day, I wait for Wigglytuff and Granbull. And yes, I know Granbull is pure fairy. But yeah, all these Pokemon, for one reason or another, won't see use in any sort of play, even if they are something stable. Also, you know the truth. This Magnius Pokemon Crystal Clear in Windmaker HD Let's Plays. Links will be in the description below. With that, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to do my best not to talk about obvious dex filler normal types that are obviously unplayable for the most part of this list. Yeah, Spinnet is bad. Go figure, right? So I kind of want to use some of these segments, keyboard some, because you'll know when I'm just here to roast the Pokemon for being bad, or to talk about Pokemon I actually think are kind of alright, but just struggle with being outclassed by Pokemon who did it better. A prime example of this is Brady. It probably has one of the more interesting stat spreads out of the normal and flying types, and was clearly meant to be kind of good. Sheer Force and Defiance are good abilities. It's got good attack and speed. It's even got stuff like Close Combat, U-Turn, and Rock Slide for coverage, right? So, what went wrong? Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. I think the issue is that it falls under the big HP, big attack, nothing else archetype. And with normal flying being a questionable type for that both defensively and offensively, it wasn't working. And sadly, you're not using Bro in your playthrough because evolving at level 54 should be illegal, and in Black and White, the game where you want to use the Cool American Bird, is version exclusive to White. I don't know what this was about. So, Mega Audio is a weird one, because there are so many reasons you're not using My Little Baby Ponies. First and foremost, Automate is never obtained in the base game of any game it is in, only the post game. Secondly, for some reason, they decided to give Mega Audio a keyword, which, as I'm pretty sure I've said before, I hate. Thirdly, they were too cowardly to give it Regenerate, which would have actually made it viable in the only mode you can really use audio in, and that's PvP. Unless you really want to use it in the battle-based sun or the battle tree that badly. It's just like, man, combine this with the fact that it has to use Wish and Protect for its recovery, and not, I don't know, Recover or something, and the fact that its stat spread, while not underwhelming, is not great. And you begin to see an issue. Mega Audio has it rough. So this is where you expect me to call Watchhog like Dex Filler and one of the weaker normal types and how I'm going to go in on it for being weak. But no, that is not why I have come to berate Watchhog. I've come to berate Watchhog because that's right, that's my beat. You can use Watchhog in a playthrough to help catch Pokemon with tools like Thunder Wave and Pulse Weapon on them, right? It isn't entirely useless. But the process of getting to Watchhog in comparison to getting into Herdier, and then Herdier evolves into the far superior Stoutland, yeah, get this thing away from me. Glendora is the only person to ever master this Pokemon. I know I talk rather negatively about Squawkabilly, and I mean a lot, but I think I'm slowly coming around to, let's say, 75% of the Squawkabillies. Kinda, sorta. At least from a design standpoint, since they've committed crimes beyond redemption. However, 25% of all Squawkabillies have earned by iron simply for existing. Who on earth is actually going to tell me they want to use Banana Squawkabilly? Especially when you have White Squawkabilly, Blueberry Squawkabilly, and I don't know what the expect was. Why couldn't you be pink so I could call you Strawberry or something? You know what? This is petty, and besides the part that matters is that who is actually trying to use the yellow Squawkabilly? These are just state types of people who think that dressing up in a banana suit and berating me about PB&J is still funny. You don't even have a competitive reason to use it when the green and blue one have guts, while yellow and white have sheer force. Personally, I rather use Blueberry Squawkabilly, because blue is cool. The only time I'm ever hyping up yellow is when I'm watching a Daisy-obsessed toxic Piplup try to win Bowser's Big Blast. If you know, you know. I find Herdier so fascinating to never use. By the time you figured out its evolution method in your first run of Arceus, you've already basically established a hodgepodge of 6 idiots to carry with you in that game, because battling doesn't happen often enough in Arceus for you to need to worry about a team comp. Except for that one. And yeah, Herdier takes you around the region, but that's not your Herdier. That's just some other Herdier that is cooler and better than your speedy, smelly bad one. What makes Herdier so bad and smelly? Well, honestly, I think it has a fully optimized backstory. Like, let me get this straight. You managed to give Eastman Arcanine, Caesar, and Ursaluna everything they needed to be good. And yet, they couldn't min-max Herdier. Its Wincon is basically agility, combine, and stored power, in an actual game of Gen 9. And I'd rather use Galarian Arbitrator for that. And despite its base 103 HP, I wouldn't really call it bulky enough to both take hits and dish them out. It's really either one or the other with this guy. It requires too much setup to pull off, and I'd rather just use something else instead. Heck, even in Legends Arceus, I would rather use other Eastern Pokemon. Like, I don't know, Arcanine, Sneasler, Ursaluna, or Basculegion, who are all pretty awesome dudes. Unlike Herdier, who is kind of just there. So, Probably is a Pokemon I actually quite like. I think it's a big, chubby kitty, and I just want to pet it, hug it, snuggle with it, and give it treats. It's just a big, ratty, brute force kitty. And I know that it's kind of a jerk, but it's also kind of endearing. I would unironically want to own one of these guys, because while difficult to tame, I imagine the tame for ugly to just be a big, fat baby. And something about that makes me really happy. Anyways, the reason no one uses it is because despite getting stuff like Latios and Ogerpon for running for their money, it doesn't have any other really good stat or normal stat. You have to play Last Resort or get Impact on it since it lost to a turn. And despite Legends Arceus giving it Double Edge, it point where once you use it, you just forget about Karate. Now, as for the playground, I mean, sure, if you want to keep a useless Pokemon who doesn't do anything with the party until level 38, well then, be my guest. I just hope it treats you better than how Karate treated me out at the end. So, Pokemon is a weird one, where I don't know what Pokemon does. It's a multi-physical attacker with 95s in all of its defensive stats. And
the drive to very last stage, trust the list will be monitored. One application per day. Repairs and hybrids for 48 hours. Safe for newborns and person skills of all ages. Obey.
110 attack, plus having Reckless to beef up its signature move, Head Charge, which is slightly better double-edged. And while it has insanely low special attack and speed, the stat spread feels actually kind of decent, really. Reckless, Sap Secret, and Soundproof are three very real abilities. And stuff like Close Combat, Earthquake, Wild Charge, and Source Dance give it a lot to work with. This Pokemon actually doesn't feel too bad on its own merit. Now, why no one uses it in a playroom? Honestly, from my experience, it shows up really late, or it doesn't show up at all. And I never spotted it in the wild by the time in Gen 8. I guess Chinchino and Audino outclassed it as normal at the GPU, and stuff like Trunnigan and Gigalith did its job better. Man, you really hate to see it. I mean, exactly outside of Solgaleo or Necrozma Duskmane, is there actually a strong lion Pokemon? Luxray, for those who classify it as a lion, is pretty bad, and so is Pilot. Pretty sure I've gone off about everything wrong this Pokemon is in terms of its stats, design, and control. So, to keep this short and sweet, the abilities don't work. The stats are power crept by existing, and its coverage is about as deep as a small puddle. And then in the games I remember it being in off the top of my head, being X and Y and Scarlet and Violet, it was over for this Pokemon before it ever began. It's competing with these fire types for a slot on the in-game team, and these are much better options. So, I have gone on record to say that there's potential for Meloetta, and I still see it. I think that Meloetta has the secret sauce. It's just that secret sauce happens to be incredibly hard to come by, and I've come to terms with it. Being forced to run Relic Song in order to get what is basically budget Megalopoly is pretty unfortunate, which kind of sucks. Being Bits 128 speed is faster than a decent chunk of current gen OU, and base 128 attack is nothing to stop that. But being forced to run Relic Song in order to get to means that you're wasting a turn, you're a lot slower as regular Meloetta, so you're likely to get hit really hard before you can do it, and there's a chance that said Relic Song isn't doing any real damage, because you most likely went Jolly Nature for adamant, unless you really wanted Relic Song to kick butt, in which case you would use it. Either way, the cool form is forcefully locked, and I think Game Freak needs to let you choose what version of Meloetta you're allowed to use at the start. What are they afraid? You'll let being too good? Yeah, right. Remember, Game Freak doesn't do balance very often otherwise. They put Shadowladder, Calyrex, and Terrestrialization in the same game for some reason. Yet, we can't just pick which Meloetta we get to use at the start of the match. Yeah, I know it's doing alright in NU, but NU isn't exactly the most widely played tier. And I feel like you didn't have to fall that low if Game Freak didn't do Homegirl dirty. This very unorthodox decision is why people don't use Meloetta. And Meloetta, sadly being locked in the DLC, and usually in the post-game from what I remember, means you don't get to enjoy it in a run-through for your game without about some level of cheating or just turning it over to yourself, which is not very far. Now I'm going to make a pirouette set and ponder about what could have been. You know, unless I'm just missing something, I see no love for Dunsparce 2. I know it fits the brazier mold of big HP, big attack, but the Dunsparce has, like, actually cool stuff to it, like Thunderwave. Oh. Did they take away Thunderwave for this line of Gen 9? Oh. Never mind. Now I see why no one uses this stuff. Taking away Thunderwave from it means it can't use the Coil, Headbutt, Rootstick, T-Wave set with Serene Grace. Oh great. Now I don't want to play with this mon anymore. Apps. Knack XRU or a can plate. Alright. No? Not gonna do that? That's fine. Yeah. I guess sadly, the Dunsparce, despite being a Gen 9 mod, wasn't given the fancy broken things other Pokemon got. It's built in a Gen 4 set of something. Joe Ganson for oh, hey, just get there. Oh my god, you're having freaking Here we go. I love this book. Alright, so let's say you say video for you find your Friday, January 20th. So, many board of hearing today for charging on the CSX home last night that Seattle left the game. How did they play? And so I'm not entirely surprised. I actually am surprised that the other more players they were I guess that's really good to hear. A police officer from announcing it again, but just last enough, and then we'll be able to so, yeah, we'll see how many games board gets. I'm guessing I'll take 2. I'll take 2. It's not an in-person hearing, so it's not going to be long and board. So, Mango has been in the third period, and it has quite stellar in the second period. I can't prove that's what got his head, but that's the kind of thing that the pocket had to do. And I understand calling balance. No. But for Mango, it really does feel like the state of the Masters is not necessarily there. I don't know what's actually going to do or when. It's a matter of if you're going to trade the players, how we want to trade as soon as possible. That being said, there's an announcement coming up at 11 a.m. my time. It's already been done with the announcement likely is. Your Rutherford has got an extension for the next 2 years. So Rutherford, when he came in, we joined the back to the organization. I actually got 8 by 10 of Rutherford with the Stanley Cup. I was like, alright, that's the dream, that's the sketch. So, I talked a lot about the Canucks and I never going to win a cup, but I got that as soon as they hired Rutherford because I was like, you know what? We don't have a Stanley Cup. So, Rutherford built a pretty good team in Vancouver along with GM Patrick Muldoon, and it's kind of weird to see them at the top of the standings. But it's a bit weird. It's definitely weird. James Pinto has signed an extension with the Ottawa Senators. The RFA signed a 1-year contract for $775,000. Prorated. I would think prorated. That's how that works. I don't know if it was suspended due draft the season, so I'm guessing it's prorated. But Ellie Streetman's reporting that they're working on a longer term deal. So I'll be surprised if Pinto signs an extension and where this is going to happen. You just get him signed, get him in the lineup, and then you worry about how much money he's going to make for next year. The rumors have been in the 4 or 5 year deal kind of range. We'll see how much he gets. But getting Pinto back for Ottawa, like last night against Montreal, now first off, Montreal looks pretty exhausted. I got the feeling that Montreal was back from the last game. But either way, Ottawa wins that game 6-2. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Ottawa's going to win their share of games in the second half of the season with Pinto and Moya. If that will affect what the GM does at the deadline, my guess is probably not, because they're so far out of the playoffs. I don't know if a 4 or 5 game winning streak or going 5 or 6 games above 500 between now and the trade deadline will make much of a difference. But we'll see what bringing Pinto back as a does for it. Bruce Jenner's going to return tonight, broken jaw for him, so he was injured and suspended the game. So he's not getting training. He's wondering what the timeline looks like. Same injury or similar injury. I mean, not every person draws the same area, not everybody heals the same rate. So Jenner coming back tonight, it ends up being right in that timeline. This is
course, one of the most important members of the Florida campus is the lineup. He then helps keep the Wild a little bit. It's an 8 team, but the Wild somehow got that pretty on. And Florida coming out from overtime one, probably getting this pretty early to make himself. Lazat has a lower running injury to the Kings. What was really collapsing on the break was not so, minus Lazat, the one thing with the Kings is that's not going to be why they're losing games. They're not very good right now. And for the LA Kings, they take this money back to March. Not sure exactly what the solution is going to be, but they better find it quickly because they've fallen to the number of well as the left. And there are teams to look much better than they are right now. The Oilers jumped LA and put them in this position as well. They're now third in the Pacific after their 12th straight playoff starting today. You have Vegas and Edmonton. So, and with the way they're playing right now, Edmonton would likely win that series. But again, we don't have playoffs today. So we'll see the Oilers how long the streak goes. 12 straight wins is impressive. I know when I put up that 10-minute video, it was well, none of the 12 wins. It's still an issue with this player. They haven't played this. It's remarkable. So since then, they beat Toronto and Seattle. Both teams that are either above the line or pretty close to them. And, yeah, so the Oilers are strong on the bench for the victory. And the question is, how far can this go? Let me know your thoughts. How far do you think the Oilers can go? Don't get me at like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again.
Try to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Soul Silver with only water-type Pokemon. But there's going to be an additional twist that makes this challenge even harder. You see, water types are characteristically known for being abundant in Pokemon games. Seriously, they're everywhere. Which means for this challenge, we are going to have a lot of possible encounters, including those on screen. In addition to that, they're also pretty good overall with well-rounded stats, although they are definitely on the slower side. So today, we're going to add a bonus limitation. No stat boosting moves at all. I'm a bit scared because those moves can be quite reliable, but let's see if we can beat Pokemon Soul Silver with only the first water type that we find on each route. No stat boosting moves allowed, no items in battle, level caps in place, and the battle mode on set at all times. Now, water types may be super abundant, but new high-quality games to play are certainly hard to find, which is why you'll love today's sponsor, Hawkeye Impact 3rd, a free-to-play 3D cross-platform anime action game from Audioverse, the creators of Genshin Impact and the recently released Hawkeye Star Rail. This game has got stunning 3D effects, puzzles, tactics, wicked bosses, a variety of play options, open-world exploration, and epic stories with top-notch gameplay, cinematics, and voice acting. You'll play as a captain commanding a memorable cast of Valkyries to save the civilization. Fuwa and Grisio will meet to reach the sky and defeat Song head-on to put an end to the deluge. And you can do this with the help of Grisio's new battlesuit, Cosmic Expression. This is the first SD-type battlesuit for higher damage. When her ultimate is casted, a meteorite will descend from above, and she cuts it with a laser saber in mid-air, causing it to explode. And new limited-time events. Join the event when Starcast mixes new outfit on Fair Clouds for free. Not only that, but version 7.1 has UI upgrades and storage optimization to 6 players up to 6 gigabytes of room. And new limited time events too. Beat Interstellar Simulation, offering 4-star event stigma, Kiana, cramming, Cosmic Expression fragments, ancient willpower, crystals, and more at the event shop. Not only that, but you can expect several stunning new outfits for many of the characters in Hawkeye. Joining the Christmas and New Year's Day events will also give you 15 pulls for free, along with bonuses like crystals, character fragments of J9 and the Stingel, and crucial materials. Download Hawkeye Impact 3rd now and experience the version 7.1 update. Check the pin comment and the link in the description below. Log game to claim a free character, Punisher of Sentience. With amazing physical support and the power to perform combo slashes after ultimate activation to deal high damage, you won't want to miss out. Use code YANASENTI to get tons of rewards, and new players get even more game bonuses to explore. Alright, let's tackle the Johto region. Come to think of it, why does Oak do the intro for a Johto game? You'd think Elm would get a chance to shine here. Hey, wait a minute, we need one of those. Does that thing have huge power by any chance? Oh, what? Wait, she's got one too? Something tells me there's a huge narrow propaganda push going on here. I mean, it's just getting ridiculous. In the lab, we get to choose our starter, and this is one of those rare times that we actually get to keep it. A Totodile, which I nicknamed Peroni, and what ends up having a naughty nature, giving him plus attack stats and minus special defense. Not bad at all. I will certainly take plus attack on a future for alligators. Now, this was kind of funny. On our way to Mr. Pokemon's house, I don't think I've ever preemptively stopped at this guy's house without him coming out to greet me. And he actually makes a comment about how people tend to skip his house for Mr. Pokemon's house. Poor guy. I just changed the trajectory of his life with a single break-in. Mr. Pokemon sounds like an evil villain. It was I who sent the email. Back at Cherry Grove, we run into our rival, and since we have a water type already, this time the battle actually counts. So I needed to make sure to get a couple levels on Peroni so we could safely take down Chikorita, which fortunately doesn't have any grass moves at this point. Did I catch his name? Yep, I sure did. That's it. No problem, Mr. Policeman. I totally didn't just commit perjury. Right near New Barktown, Lyra shows us how to catch a Pokemon, and more importantly, gives us some Pokeballs, meaning we can now get some new encounters. Oh, and right before the next city, she also gave us the Versus Recorder. If only modern Pokemon games had the technology. Oh, wait a minute. It's been 13 years since this got released. Anyway, we arrive at Violet City next, the location of the first gym. And in the Pokemon Center, we have something very interesting.
If you know cars and how to fix and maintain them, Budget Auto Centers wants to meet you. AC's trusted name in automotive repair is Brooke.
A man named Primo, who ironically enough is actually who we can get our first viable encounter from. You see, using your unique trainer ID, there are different passwords that you can tell him. And ours was Parent Software Early Bird Coolness, which nets us none other than a Wooper egg. Super cool. After walking enough to prepare me for speed walking at the Olympics, yes, that actually exists, the egg hatches, and I named the Wooper Lockteed. Lockteed has a careful plus special defense and minus special attack nature, which isn't good now, but will be good later. You'll see why. To the north of the city lies a terrifying prospect for us, Sprout Tower. It's full of traitors with Bellsprout of all things, either super effective or even 4 times super effective against us in the case of Wooper. Fortunately, the earlier ones have low levels, so we can spray through with under half health remaining. And they do give attack EVs, which is one upside, I guess. Problem is, the level cap is incredibly hard to stay under in the early stages of the game, so I had to do switch training between Lockteed and Peroni, which was incredibly dangerous. But thankfully, we did get crit and made it through. The big challenge is at the top, the Elder. And exactly as I was hoping, we have just the range to be able to 2-hit KO the Bellsprout, which might have just saved us if I'm honest. Voodoo ended up missing its hypnosis too, so it technically only got 1 peck off before 3 scratches finished him off. Hey, not as bad as I was expecting. With that win under our belt, we can now challenge the Violet City Gym, being able to skip through all the trainers and head straight for the first gym leader, Faulkner, the flying expert. No matter what, everything indicates that this is going to be a close one, so let's just go for it. He leads with a Pidgey, and I lead with Lockteed. Tackle doesn't do much on us before Water Gun does a third on him. We repeat that sequence once more, and then does the same attack on the third. I was hoping to avoid that before a third attack then takes him down. Then it comes the big threat, Yodo, which nails us with just half before I land a much-needed tailwind. He hits us again low, and another tailwind lands. Cool. Now I switch to Peroni, who gets hit to half health already. That bite barely doesn't do half on him. Oh no, my counts might have been wrong. But then he goes for Roost to heal his health, and we hit again, and it looks to do exactly half this time. Oh man, that means we need the range as we get into just 9 HP, like the bite, and boom, we got just the range to take him down. I did not know it was going to be that close. But yeah, the strat was to basically take the sand attack with Wooper so that Totodile could have full accuracy, which as you can see was much needed. First badge under our belt. Let's go. To the west, we can get the Rock Smash gem, and for those of you familiar with this game, you'll know just how valuable this is, as we can go to the Ruins of Alp to get, well, Yes, the Gen 1 fossils like the old amber, which actually will come in handy for a later encounter, but aside from that, colored shards, which you can take to the Shard to Berry guy in Violet City for almost any berry you could imagine that you need. Or citrus, cherry, chesto. Man, Violet City's really coming in clutch today, isn't it? Heading south, we run to this guy who gives us a miracle seed to boost grass type moves. Yes, thanks, dude. I'm sure my water team will make great use of this. What we will be able to make great use of comes in the form of the focus center nearby. A fisherman who gives us the old rock. But there's a weird situation with this because I really want to stay fishing for later so that we don't risk ruining a special encounter that I really want. Picking up the shell bell on the way, we then enter Union Cave. A cool place, yes, but it has what I think might be an absolutely crucial TM for us. Rock tomb in the basement. There is something else very valuable down here, but we can't get it until we get some more HX. Making our way to Azalea Town, we head back to the Slowpoke Well, where our next encounter can be found. You'd never guessed it, I know, but it's a Slowpoke. Wow! I named him Keller, and he has a quirky neutral nature, which is pretty great. Now, I leveled up Keller to level 15 so that he can learn Confusion, and he does not appear to be too happy about what's going on down here. So, because he's definitely not going to be used for the next gym, I'm able to use him to absolutely devastate Team Rocket members down here, not only being at a high level, but also having a stab super effective 50 power move, and being immune to things like Supersonic with Zubat thanks to own tempo, allowing him to rescue his now tailless brothers. I am the Slowpoke Master. Wait, which one's mine again? Before the next gym, I teach Pearly the Rock Tomb TM, fundamentally necessary, I believe, and then tackle the trainers in here. He performs incredibly well, being able to one-hit KO almost everything in here, and if not, the speed drop from Rock Tomb allows us to add speed on the next turn anyway to guarantee the knockout. Pretty handy, and we're gonna need it, as up next is the second gym leader, Bugsy the Bug Expert, and he begins with a level 17 Scyther of all things, as I get Peroni on the field. It all depends what order he chooses to use his moves in, and he goes for focus energy before we hit a 4-time super effective Rock Tomb, but it's not quite enough to KO before his berry activates. His speed is lowered now, so he goes for quick attack, and there's a crit, but our berry heals us, then we land another for the KO. Oh, now even if he had used U-turn, my counts told me that we barely survived 2 of them, so we still had a chance there by switching into our other Mons, but that went pretty well. I think the speed drop baited him into trying to get priority with quick attack, which is what I was hoping for. I then hit Metapod with a Rock Tomb before switching into Keller, tanking a tackle, and taking him out with Confusion on the next turn. His final Pokemon is Weedle, and it outspeeds us with a Poison Sting, and gets a crit and poisons us. As Confusion barely doesn't KO on like a sliver, but confuses him. Literally every single possible secondary effect that can happen is happening. What in the world? After he potions, we bring him low again, and then he gets himself in Confusion to win us the second batch. That was a pretty wild battle, and I think a crit U-turn from Scyther would have been the only really guaranteed loss. For winning, we get an epic reward, as Peroni is almost into a crocodile, providing some more power and bulk for sure. But the challenge isn't over yet, as upon leaving the town, our rival Dimwit challenges us to battle, and he's got a frightening team at this point. He leads with a Ghastly, so I get Keller out there. He does outspeed, but fortunately just goes for Mean Look, so a stab super effective Confusion doesn't hit. Then in comes a huge threat, Bigly. It does miss its poison powder, and then I let it yawn. He unfortunately puts up Reflect, but then falls asleep after I use Growl to lower his attack. From there, I start unloading with Confusion, but he wakes up on the first turn and smashes us with Razor Leaf, which still does a third even after lowering his attack. And he has Synthesis to heal his health. Not good. I let another yawn, just desperately trying to get this to work, and he misses Poison Powder again. Now, we keep going on this path for a while, all the while our Shell Bell is restoring some health every time we land an attack. The ultimate goal here is to confuse him, which can happen while he's asleep. All the while, we're wearing down his attack with Growl. Eventually, after minutes of this, we have him stay asleep from yawn for a few turns in a row, get him all the way to the red, and we confuse him while he's asleep. Then he wakes up and hits himself in Confusion to a sliver, and we land the final blow. Man, oh man, that took over 5 minutes of battling one Pokemon, but it was well worth it, as Bailey is a monster threat to our team. His final Pokemon is Zubat, and it did land a super effective fight, survived the Confusion, and then tried to confuse us with Supersonic, but Own Tempo comes in well attacked with the battle. Not the smoothest nor the quickest method, but we got the W. After rescuing the farfetched in the Islands Forest, this dude gives us the charcoal item to boost fire moves, and you may laugh, but don't forget, Slowbro and Slowking can learn both Fire Blast and Flamethrower, so hey, I'm not counting it out. Yeah, this looks eerily similar to the side of defense. Yeah, well listen here, if you don't perform adequately, that's exactly what I'm gonna send you. With that threat out of the way, we then arrive at the next gym location, Goldenrod City. Before anything, I hit up the department store to pick up some useful TMs like Reflect, Light Screen, and Protect, just in case we need them. And checking out the game corner, the TMs and items in here aren't fantastic for us yet, but definitely will be good for later encounters and evolutions. Oh, hey look, the lottery. Maybe we could score big. Oh, come on, that computer is rigged. It's time for the Goldenrod City Gym, full of normal type treasures that, as it turns out, Loxy is actually quite good at countering them. Having reasonable bulk for an unevolved Pokemon, and having 70 power headbutt for a good neutral move, and can even switch to Water Jet when our physical attack is lower too. Pretty handy mixed package. Well, let's hit up the infamous third gym leader, Whitney, the normal specialist, and an absolute nightmare for trainers worldwide. It took me a while to think of a strategy for her, and you can never be sure, but let's give it a whirl. She leads with her Clefairy, and I lead with Keller this time around. The scary thing here is Metronome, because you never know what it's going to be, but it's Slam on the first turn, after which I land a Yawn. She then uses it again, and gets Scritch to lower our defense. Actually, not good at all. Very unfortunate, but she falls asleep. Now, I know we cannot have that defense drop looking forward, so I have to waste 2 turns switching into Loxy and back to get rid of it, hitting her with a headbutt for good measure between them. From here, it's just a matter of spamming Confusion, but we actually got a crit on one to take it out. Okay then. I was actually hoping to waste one of her super potions on it, so that's not ideal. Then, in it comes her Miltank. It hits a stomp right away to half, and flinches us. Oh, it hits again, and we end up on just 16 HP before our berry, and then land a growl. I know we need 2 of them, so I stay in and get flinched again. Are you kidding me? She then uses a track on the next turn, and I am kicking myself, but we land another growl. Yes, I need all the growls I can get, so I risk for a 3rd turn, and we make it through Stomp and Infatuation to land a 3rd one. Beautiful. On just 9 HP in the red, I now switch to Monty, a great counter, not being able to be attracted, and I taught her Protect, so she can stop the Willow King if you want, but she crits us immediately on the switch. Why is this happening? Our berry heals us a bit, and I know we should be able to survive a non-crit from here, and we tank it well after the attack lowers and land a punch shot to lower her speed. For my plan to work, I know we need to do that once more, and we survive her next attack on just 8 HP in the red and land it. Now I can execute the final phase by switching in Peroni, who only gets hit for 7 HP by Stomp. Now I start tagging her with Mirrors to lower her defense, which I'm hoping to get 3 off, but she lands a track after the second one. From here, it's just a crapshoot. If we get immobilized and then hit again, then we land a 3rd one on the next turn as she uses Milk Drink. But now, given that we have speed, I'm hoping we can start to flinch her with Bite, but we stay immobilized and end up at half health. We then hit one for a 3rd, but no flinch, so we get hit low before our berry. We then land another, and she flinches. Yes, serves her right, as we make it through on our next turn as well to end the battle. Holy, a wild strategy, and even through our brutal luck, we pulled it off with some close calls. 3 badges. With that badge in hand, we can now access a pivotal location, the Pokeathlon. And it just so happens to be Wednesday, the only day pre-national decks that we can get a wicked item, Water Stones. Now, those are going to be helpful. Okay, it's time to try out those pickup artist tricks I've been learning about. Oh, a Quick Claw. Why, thank you. That'll be perfect for my slow poke. I guess we were paid for each other. Okay, let's do that. You stupid idiot. Alright, so up ahead of this weird rock tree thing, I squirted with the squirt bottle and then proceeded to throw out a dinosaur to squirt it again. Makes complete sense. Well, we've now arrived in Echotique City, and this is where things get interesting. You see, hitting up the Pokemon Center right away, we run into Bill, the creator of the PC. As he heads back to Goldenrod, we can creepily follow him back to his house, where he'll actually give us a brand new encounter, Eevee, which I nicknamed Caleb and ends up having a bashful neutral nature. Perfect. Now we can hit up that border to the east of Eckertys to search for another encounter. It just so happens that it's a 1% chance to find, so it takes a while. But eventually we find it, a barrel which I catch and name Adrian. And it ends up having a plus speed and minus defense nature. Not bad at all, but it has thick fat instead of huge power. Legitimately making it almost useless. The huge power ability is a must for a half decent Azumarill, but without it, that 50 attack stat is just not going to cut it. In the Eckertys Dance Meter, we do have some redemption though in the form of the Survey Gem, a 95 power, 100% accurate same type attack bonus or stab move for all our Pokemon. That is huge. While preparing for the 4th gym, we had an absolute evolution for Manza, as Moxie first evolved into an Anti-Quagsire at level 20. Then, our newly caught Adrian evolved into an Azumarill at level 18. Not only that, but using one of our Water Stones, I could also evolve Caleb the Eevee into a Vaporeon. Quite a stellar Pokemon to have this early in game. Now, those are some power-ups. Hitting up the Burn Tower, we have another rival battle against Dimwit, and although he has another big threat on his team this time around, I think we've got the coverage to handle him. Against his Ghastly, I went with Keller, and this time he went for Curse before Confusion blasted him into oblivion. Here comes Bailey next, and even with the Curse, I know we have to put this thing to sleep, so I used Yawn after he went for Reflect, getting taken to half by Curse. We cannot stay in now, so here I switch it to Caleb, who gets hit by Magical Leaf, but it only does about a quarter. Now I start using Tail Whip as he falls asleep, and we get 2 off before going to Adrian after we got poisoned. Now I can continue to Tail Whip 4 more times while he resets Reflect, and he missed Poison Powder too. With us at low health after a berry and poison damage, I now switch to Feroni with Bayleaf at -6 defense. And we get hit by Magical Leaf hard below half, but our berry saves us by bringing us back above, right as Reflect wears off. One singular super effective Ice Fang is able to do the job from there. Beautiful. Then in comes Magnemite, normally a big threat for a team like this, but we do have one answer. Moxie before I switch in for the immunity to electric and respond with a 4 times damage Mudshot to 1-hit KO. His final Pokemon is then Zubat, and aside from some confusion annoyance, we take it down in a couple serves. Hey, that wasn't too bad overall, so long as we can find a way to win the Bayleaf. Oh man, the legendary Suicune, and a water type too. Can we catch him? Please? The Eckertys City Gym is upon us, and we have quite a solid plan for the trainers themselves, as Caleb has a 110 base special attack with a 95 power stab move, obliterating all the Ghastlies and Honkers in here with little issue. And don't forget, this way we also get tons of special attack EVs too, so I'll take it. The 4th gym leader is Morty, the Ghost Specialist, and his team is always terrifying. Well, not just because they're ghosts, but they also have many tricks up their sleeves like Hypnosis, Curse, Mean Look, Confuse Ray, just a mess. But I think I have a good strategy. Against Ghastly, I go into Caleb and immediately outspeed and want to kill with Surf to get rid of that annoyance. Here comes the big boy next though, Gengar. I know we have good special defense, and I have the Chesto Berries who we can't get put to sleep, but he just went for Mean Look. Surf hits him to a third before his berry, and then he lands a Shadow Ball for a third, with no crit and no special defense drop either. The range is going to be close, but I Surf again, and it just gets the KO, so we don't have to worry. Nice. Then comes Haunter, which does go to put us to sleep, but our berry activates and Surf auto-destroys him. Let's go. His final Pokemon is a slightly stronger Haunter, which merely looks us and succumbs to a final wave. 4 badges, and that was probably the least problematic board battle I've had in recent memory. With 4 badges in hand, we're now able to actually use Surf in the overworld, and this opens up a world of possibilities. First off, in the late range, we can get one of the best items in the entire game, the Choice Specs to boost special attacks massively at the cost of only being able to use that one move. But not only that, in here we can find the special encounter that I've been waiting for, the Red Pyramid, a shiny that we could actually use in our Nuzlocke. I delayed numerous potential fishing encounters we could have gotten because there are Magikarps everywhere, and that would have ruined this one, of course. But I think it'll be well worth it. I'm in her with Jackie, and she has a lonely plus attack and minus defense nature. Plus attack is perfect, and minus defense isn't that bad, as it has Intimidate anyway. And finally, I think we now have a worthy adversary to intimidate Lance and his Dragonite here.
I am now the Alpha.
And testing out Ledecky's strength on Route 38, boy, oh boy, she is a monster. Poor little birdies. Oh, jeez, okay. Talk about a lesson in being humble. Let's get the hell out of that thing's way. Let that easy worst nightmare come to life. Oh, hey look, it's behind you. Letting us know the safari's over. Oh god, okay, this is getting out of hand. People who are first timers to my videos are going to be like, what the hell is going on? Upon arriving in Olivine City, we run into Dimwit and, hey, why is that Gyarados the same color as my hair? That's actually a good question. A mutation of some sort, I guess? I don't know. Here we can get a wicked key item to help with new encounters, the Good Rod, opening up a world of possibilities. Going across the ocean, we eventually arrive at the next two locations, Yemwood City. While preparing for it, we have a couple awesome evolutions. The first being Keller, who I trade evolved with the King's Rock from the Slowpoke Well Basement now that we have the right HMs to get there. Turn him into a Slowking. Quite an underrated beast that I can't wait to try out, and there's a reason I chose him instead of Slowbro, as you'll see later. Not only that, but our starter Peroni also evolves right at level 30 into a monster Feraligatr. Definitely one of my favorite starters ever. Getting up to Sienwood Gym is a great opportunity to test out Keller, as his psychic typing and great defenses allow us to power through the trainers with relative ease. Wait, was that Black Belt Nog? The guy from Emerald as well? I think I just noticed that for the first time. It's time for the 5th gym leader, Chuck, the fighting expert, and although he's often challenging, I'm feeling quite good about it this time around. I of course get Keller on the field against his primate, and the only real threat here is him double teaming, which he does. And we miss our confusion. He double teams again, and we miss again. Not good. He then hits a rock slide, and we don't flinch, so confusion that hits barely doesn't KO him into red. After he heals, we hit him once more, and it's an even closer call on just a sliver. Rock slide then hits us again, and we miss confusion. This is a disaster already. We then get hit to a third before we finally land the finishing blow. Now, we're heading into his ace, Poliwrath, way lower than I expected, but I know we can tank any non-crit, so I stay in, and we survive with just 14 HP in the red and hit 1 confusion for a third. I have to switch, so here I go into Ledecky for the Intimidate, and then can proceed to slug it out. 2 savage water types against one another, and in the end, a combination of strength and dragon rage are able to take him down, even through his fairy and hyper potion, leaving us just below half at the end. Ledecky's quite a solid counter for Poliwrath, I must say. Speaking of which, heading way back towards the beginning of the game on Route 30, we get down Surf to find our next encounter.
The new TV low-rate Visa card can help find some balance.
A Poliwhirl, which I catch and nicknamed Dwyer, and who has a relaxed plus defense and minus speed nature, which is bad, and it has stamp ability, also not great, but as a physical attacker, I'm definitely going to replace a Subaru with him for now. Now with Shiny Gyarados having been caught, this opens up a complete new world of encounters for us. In New Farmtown, for instance, we can surf to catch a Tentacruel that I named Bowman. On Route 42, we can surf to catch a Seaking that I named Marshawn. Route 35 brings about a side of programming limitation, but an act of kindness, allowing us to find a Chincow that I nicknamed Olivia. And this is also the only place we could get a Mantine, officially cutting that off as a possibility. At the top of the Olivine Lighthouse, we help to cure Amphi, and whoa, that is quite a surge. Good thing I came prepared with Plant Siren, huh? We then get a call from Salva telling us that the Safari Zone is open, which opens up other routes that we need access to. But for now, we're just going to head to the next gym in Olivine, as I'm feeling pretty confident about it. It's led by the Steel-type trainer Jasmine, and although she does have 2 electric types to start with, Loxy comes in clutch with the Mud Shot. Although we did miss our first one, and then got confused and hit ourselves before we could take the first Magnemite down. Then in comes the Beastly Steelix, as Surf does huge damage on it. Then we do have resistance against Iron Tail, although it did drop our defense, but we can outspeed for another Surf to KO it. Finally, her second Magnemite behaved more than the initial one did, to take it down in a final attack. Now that's an MVP performance right there. After the battle, I use another Water Stone to evolve Poliwhirl into our very own Poliwrath. Should be great for type coverage. Now that the Safari Zone is open, we can access the Cliff Cave area, in which we can catch another encounter, a Kingler that I nicknamed Macintosh. And beyond that, another area opens, Route 47, where I could not for the life of me find our next encounter, and I audibly said, what the is going on? Do I have the right rod on? And then bam, it appeared, a Shelter. I guess yelling at your game really works. I named him Apple and then head back to the Olivine Harbor. And it was mapped out this way so we avoid repeats, as here we can find a Corsola That's it, man. Looking in the PC, man, oh man, we have got quite the haul here. The only thing super of note is that our shelter Apple has skill link and is plus attack. But it turns out Icicle Spear is only 10 power each hit in this gen. That's terrible. Regardless, I'm going to add Apple to our team for now in place of Vaporeon for that extra ice coverage. And of course, using a Water Stone, we can immediately evolve him into a physically defensive monster, Cloyster. And boy, oh boy, does he look cool on the overworld. Your Pokemon is looking around restlessly for something. Yeah, potential victims. In the Rocket Hideout in Mahogany, we're faced with a double battle with Lance against Ariana. And Apple performs incredibly well here, being able to hit both opposing Pokemon every turn with Surf. And then having super effective Stab Ice Beam for both Gloom and Murkrow. Except Lance took the Murkrow down with Fly. Always have to show us up, don't you, bud? Wait a minute, did you just say true power? Hey, that's my intellectual property. Hitting up the Mahogany Gym, Peroni performs like an absolute savage in here. Having raw physical power and good coverage for even things like Jinx with 80 power crunch. The Substitute Gym Leader is Price, the Ice-type expert, and I think I have a pretty good strat here. He leads with a Seal, and you see, as I lead Dwyer, I know he's likely going to go for the Hail. Meaning, I can charge up Focus Punch while he does, and then smash it with a 150 power stab boost. He has no shot. Then it comes Dugong, and knowing that only has resisted moves against us, I steadily wear him down with body slams, eventually paralyzing him too. And knowing he would likely either heal or stay paralyzed, I went for Focus Punch. And it was the latter anyway, so we demolished him for good measure. His spot Pokemon is that Piloswine, and here I go for Rain Dance immediately. Not only to stop the hail, but to deactivate his Snowpoke ability and ensure that Blizzard is no longer 100% accuracy. But it has a fourth benefit too, powering up our stat super effective Surf to be instant 1-hit KO and the victory. Dwyer, that was a wild performance. At this point, I started having those ideas about a possible Deathless run come to mind, given how well we're doing. Okay, yeah, having the Rocket uniform on with a red Gyarados is utterly sick. What are you doing? Poking at garbage? You're meant to be intimidating. Infiltrating the Rocket radio tower, our rival then foils our plan, yelling at us for joining Team Rocket. No, I'm trying to infiltrate them. You did. Oh yeah, that's your name. Reaching Petrol at the top, we have a fantastic answer to his exploding copies and Weezings. Keller, who not only has great defenses, but also stabs super effective Confusion. And I cast the choice specs on him, so he has enough power to 1-hit KO every single one of his mobs. Savage. In the Goldenrod Tunnel, we then have another rival battle with Dimwit, and it's payback time as I unleash a mammoth of a coverage spawn, Peroni our starter. Against his Golbat, we can use Ice Bang, but it barely doesn't KO on a Slipper, and we get confused. Regardless, we make it through with KO on the next turn. In comes Vanadium next, and with us confused, this is too much of a threat, so I switch into Ledecky, now having a Pokemon that's not weak to grass. Finally. He did go for Reflect, but we also have Ice Fang, so I just keep spamming it, knowing he'll eventually get confused from Petal Band. Alright, third hit, we actually froze the metal. We used better as we also got defeated, so there was no hope for him by the end. Next up is Magnemite, right as the reflect wears off, so I switched to our trusty lock to debate the electric moves on him, and respond with a bloodshot destruction. Then comes Haunter, and here I go back into Peroni for the weird hits curse, then a crunch obliterates him. His final Pokemon is then Sneasel, and with the curse I play it safe by going into Dwyer, who resists everything he has and can demolish him with a single body slam. Our team is becoming really well-rounded, I've gotta say. The penultimate rocket challenge is Ariana. This time, in a single battle, and we can unleash the power of Apple by meeting with him against Arbok, so intimidating does not matter. And Ice Beam hits for 3/4 before she paralyzes us with Glare, but I attach the Terry Berry so we're healed and go for another to KO it. And as it turns out, both the remaining Pokemon, Vileplume and Murkrow, are weak to Ice Beam and go down in a single hit. Solid. The final rocket challenge is the leading executive, Archer, and right before battle, I level up Dwyer to ensure that he learns a critical move. Against his Houndour, we can now use Earthquake, a stab 100 power move to destroy him. And then it comes his Houndour, which can only hope to get a feint attack off before he suffers the same fate. His final Pokemon is then a Coughing, which had no hope at all as it got swept away by two Surfs, although it did poison us to be fair. Now that it's Friday, we have a very exciting development awaiting us back in the Union Caves. Now that we have Surf, we can make it to the very bottom where a brand new static encounter can be found. Lapras, which I catch and nicknamed Vanity. He ends up having a bold nature plus defense and minus attack. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to replace Slowking with him for now, given what we have upcoming. Not only that, but now that it's nighttime, we can head over to Cherry Grove City to find a rare encounter while fishing, a Staryu, which I named Rowdy. Rowdy ends up having a brave nature plus attack and minus speed. The worst possible nature for a Starmie, hands down. Well, you win some, you lose some, I guess. Adventuring through the icy cave. Wait, the hell? Cameron's a photographer. I didn't know he could appear here. But, geez, everyone. In here we can pick up a stellar gem, Waterfall, finally giving us a great physical move for monsters like Quagsire, Feraligatr, Gyarados, and Poliwrath. Along the way, we can also pick up the Never Malphite item to boost the power of our ice moves. Great. With that, we arrive at Blackthorn City, the location of the final gym. Here, we can also find the move leader so we can delete Surf off of all the aforementioned Pokemon and give them Waterfall instead. It's time for the Blackthorn City Gym, and in here, our newly caught Lapras goes completely nuts. One hit KOing all the Dratini's and Dragonairs with Stab Ice Beam, and I even thought of the Thunderbolt TM, so Seedrum was no problem either. Wow. The 8th final gym leader is Claire, the Dragon Trainer, and for once, I'm feeling pretty good about her with her new catch, despite her crazy powerful team. You see, she is with a Gyarados, and that's right, getting rid of it has taken the lives of many of our Pokemon in the past. I refuse to allow that to happen this time, as Manitou is a defensive and offensive monster in his current setup. Claire ends up going for an accuracy lowering strategy, but first turns it doesn't work, and we bring her to a third after her berry. Then she lands a Dragon Pulse, but Manitou eats it up with half health and responds with a final Ice Beam to end the battle and win us our final badge. Color me impressed. It occurs to me that 25% of the gym leaders in Johto are too stubborn to give you the badge that you earned from them. Is there some sort of regulatory body that can help me out here? Up next, we have a giant challenge back in Equity, the Kimono Girls. 5 consecutive battles with no healing or even switching the order of your Pokemon between them. I brought Poliwrath in place of Feraligatr for them, and there's a large reason why. The first has an Umbreon, which can be super annoying, but knowing it would likely go for Confuse Ray since we have resistance against it, I go for Focus Punch, and it does use it, but our Persevering helps, and we smash it with a one-hit KO. Nothing like a 150 power stab super effective move, I'll tell you. Up next is the Espeon Trainer, and for her, I switch it to Keller to tank the incoming Psychic, which was a crit, then she misses below half before I can land a Toy Spec Shadow Ball I taught by a TM, and it gets the job done. Those were the two big challenges. As from there, their Flareon stood no chance, of course, as Dwyer Fire smashed it with Waterfall. Jolteon could be handled by a prediction switching to Moxie, but then decimated with Earthquake. And finally, their Vaporeon was handled by switching to Manadoo, who not only outdoes it in terms of bulk, but also has Thunderbolt, which was a 3-hit KO. Not too shabby. Following that, I realized we forgot about one encounter. Just at Mahogany on Route 44, we could fish for a 5% encounter rate, Remoraid, that I caught and named Michael, and who has a lax plus defense and minus special defense nature. With that, we can now make it to the Whirl Islands, where our last encounter in Johto awaits. None other than a seal, which I catch and named Katinka. Manadoo is apparently standing guard. Well, that's good, because here comes the legendary Pokemon, Lugia. What a majestic creature it is. And naturally, Manadoo with the choice specs attached shows it's the true king of the ocean, blasting it with 2 ICs to overcome even a 154 base special defense stat. Unreal. Having made it through that test, one final one awaits. Victory Road. I always find it weird that there's not a single soul in here until the very end, where Mr. Dimwit awaits for one final battle. And this time, I want Pirelli to get his due credit, as I attached a muscle band on him from our mom's savings to boost his physical attack power. This time, Jonesy messed up 1-hit KO with Waterfall, and his Hazel actually hit us for not much damage. Then, in comes Meganium, and I cannot resist starter versus starter combat, as Ice Bank slams up to below half, and then he gets Reflect Up, another that hits him to the red, but gets the blue. No way! So another settles the score once and for all. It comes Magneton next up, big threat, but I caught Pirelli the Earthquake TM that we picked up right in here, so it crushes him with 1 hit. Haunter then gets outspent and taken down by our Crunch, and Reflect then goes down. But then Kadabra sends it back up as he comes in, but still goes down for 1 as well. His final Pokemon is that Golbat, and 2 Ice Fangs are enough to get it done, only being hit by 1 Air Cutter in the process. That victory grants us access to our final destination, the Indigo Plateau Pokemon League. After fulfilling the rest of our IDs and getting any remaining items and TMs we might need, it's time to do battle. The first Elite Four member is Will, the Psychic expert, and his team is looking pretty tricky overall, but I lead with Pirelli against the Xatu. With the help of the Muscle Band, Crunch has just the range to 1-hit KO it off the bat, and I had attached the XP share on Keller so we could level up after entering the Elite Four and learn Psychic, as technically the level cap is 47 upon entry, but 50 once you get in here due to the champion. And this is why I opted for Slowking instead of Slowbro, as the latter doesn't learn Psychic until level 54. Jinx then goes down to the same attack, and Executor survives 1 and gets the Reflect Up. Fortunately, after he healed, we did get a defense drop on him, so another did do the trick again. He becomes his own Slowbro now, which takes 1 on a 3rd, and then starts going for Curse to raise his defense over and over and over again. Really weird, but thinking he was going to heal once we brought him into the red, I switched into Manadoo for the special attacking potential, but he just used it again, so a Thunderbolt did the job. This actually works out really well, as his final Pokemon, Xatu, could then be handled by 1 as well due to the choice specs, even though we got crit by Psychic initially. A good start. The second Elite Four member is Koga, the Poison Master. And boy oh boy do we ever have a counter for him. Keller. We want to KO his area does with Psychic, and then you'd imagine that Fortress would be a hard counter for us. But nope. I taught Keller the flamethrower TF of all things, eviscerating that bug in 1 4x damage hit. From there, the rest of his entire team went down to a single stab super effective Psychic each, with only Venomoth landing a crit on us for not much damage the whole way. Keller, you are a legend. The third Elite Four member is Bruno, the fighting type expert, and yet again, Keller is the prime pick for this battle, tanking a dig from Hippotop for 1-hit KOing it with Psychic, and I patched the XP share to Manadoo to avoid overusing and over-leveling Keller. In comes his Hitmonchan next, and an Iron Fist boosted Thunder Punch did ravage us below half, but we 1-hit KO it from there. Then his Onix did use Sandstorm, and this is why I retaught Keller Surf, for the extra super effective damage, as the sand does increase his special defense. Machamp then landed a Rock Slide on us all the way to 31 HP in the red, but no flinch, so it succumbs to our attack as well. His final Pokemon is then Hitmonlee, and with us low, I switch into Raigeki for the Intimidate and High Jump Kick resistance, and then a single hyper-powered Waterfall gets the job done for us. Beauty. The last Elite Four member is Karen, the Dark-type expert, and her team has surprisingly good coverage. But I do know that we can at least take care of the complete nuisance Umbreon by using our classic Dwyer strategy, knowing it wouldn't attack us on the first turn and smashing it with Focus Punch for the auto KO. It becomes Vileplume though, so I force the switches of the deck here, only Mon not weak to grass. But she paralyzed us right off the bat. This was a crazy back and forth with Penaltix doing a surprising amount, but Ice Pen did hit it hard, and her fairy brought us back above half before we made it through paralysis for a second hit. Murkrow then succumbed to a single Ice Pen from there, and in comes Houndoom. We have the perfect counter though in the form of Peroni, as she did use nasty block, but she just went for it again before Waterfall crushed her hopes and dreams. The final Pokemon is then Gengar, and this damn thing, well, it has Destiny Bond, which means if it outspeeds, which it does to every ball on our team, and uses it and we KO it afterward, we lose a Pokemon. So I just went for Earthquake a few times to scout out if she was indeed going to use it, and she wasn't, so I go for Crunch, but it barely doesn't KO somehow. Knowing that low health will make her more likely to use it now, I just went into panic mode here and kept switching before realizing, wait a minute, you can just put her to sleep with Slowking before KOing it with Psychic. I was hesitating on doing so, but we have what I imagine is the single best glance counter in the entire game, Manitou the Labyrinth. And initially, it seems as though I was right, as we tanked Dragon Ball's